Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing the Ultimate Apex Legends tier list for Season 19. It's been absolutely ages since I've done a tier list video and so many legends have been added and so many meta changes have happened. I think it's about time I update the list. We'll be ranking all the legends based on their performance in the current meta, and I'll be giving my ideas and suggestions for some possible nerfs or buffs for these legends. Please note that in this video this is all my opinions. If you guys want to create your own list and tell me what you would change about my list, you can put it down in the comments down below. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Starting off at the bottom, we have D tier. These are legends who might need some serious buffs or a rework to even become competitive. The first legend in D tier is Caustic. Caustic used to be a very popular legend in the old days of Apex, but ever since new legends have been introduced and others reworked, Caustic falls short to be anywhere near the top of this list. All his abilities pretty much do the same thing and he's so outclassed by other legends on this list. He can hold down a building pretty well, but now that you can destroy his traps, I see little to no use for Caustic in this meta. That's why he will sit comfortably in D tier. Next up we have Mirage. Oh, poor Mirage. He has never been able to keep up with the meta in Apex. His abilities offer nothing to his team, and even to himself. After 19 seasons, I think people have finally caught on to who's the real Mirage when it comes to decoys. His ability to be invisible when reviving can be useful in fights, but you are most likely dead again once you've been revived, as you are no longer invisible. One buff that Mirage could have is to maybe have him and his teammates stay invisible for 5 seconds or so after being revived. This can allow Mirage to be more helpful to his team and make some clutch plays when in fights. Other than that, Mirage stays in D tier once again. Lastly in D tier we have Crypto. Crypto was once meta, but as the game has become more fast paced, Crypto struggles to keep up. All his abilities are way too slow for how fast paced the game is, and this is what slows Crypto down when it comes to the meta. His abilities are good on paper, but there's no time to use them when playing in such a fast paced game. They did buff Crypto to allow him to throw his drone out, but even then, it goes nowhere. One buff to Crypto could be to control where his drone moves when not inside of it. A bit like Vantage, he can throw his drone out and click to different areas to move it. This could allow Crypto to keep up with the pace of the game and become more useful. I think a buff to his ultimate by allowing it to do more damage would also be great to Crypto. Crypto has lots of potential in the meta, but for now he sits in D tier. Now we move on to C tier. These are legends who can be useful if you play them right, but still need buffs to keep them up with the meta. First up in C tier we have Lifeline. Lifeline is a great legend. She can heal her teammates when needed and can revive them when still in combat. But what lets Lifeline down is her ultimate. Her ultimate did get a buff to what's in it, but still tells the entire lobby where you are and at what time. Lifeline is another one of those legends who is so outclassed and is in need of a buff to stay on top. One idea I have for Lifeline is to remove the slow healing from her drone. Instead, give her a healing pulse that heals her teammates up to 50 HP instantly when in a fight. A bit like Baptiste from Overwatch. This can allow Lifeline to be so much more of an aggressive support legend and allow her to keep up in combat. With a few buffs, Lifeline has the opportunity to be a great pick in the meta, but for now, she sits in C tier. Next up in C tier, we have Newcastle. Newcastle isn't a bad legend. It has so much potential to be at the top, but the reason why I'm putting him in C tier is to him only having one strong ability. His revive is amazing and can help out so much in fights and turn a fight around, but his other two abilities lack usefulness. His tactical is nothing compared to a Gibraltar bubble or even a bang smoke. His ultimate is too small, and with legends like Horizon and Fuse, his walls do nothing to defend against those legends. I think one buff they could give to Newcastle is to actually make him a controller legend. It sounds stupid, right? But if Newcastle could scan beacons as well as his abilities he has now, he could be a very strong pick for the meta. I mean, he is a shield character at the end of the day. Apart from that, Newcastle will sit in C tier. Next up in C tier is Octane. Oh, how times have changed. Octane used to be at the top of the meta, but ever since they nerfed Revtane and Revenant got changed, Octane doesn't seem useful in the meta anymore. Don't get me wrong, Octane is one of the most enjoyable legends in the game to play, but when it comes to actual competitive, he falls. His kit provides very little to his team, with his jump pad being nerfed with the distance it can go to. His stim is fun to use, but also takes a lot of damage to him over time. But one way to buff Octane is to either return back to its old jump pad and its distance, or add a cooldown to his stim of 15 seconds or something, but he takes no damage from it. Other than that, I don't see Octane moving up on this list anytime soon. That's why he will stay in C tier. Our next legend in C tier is Seer. Seer used to be the most broken and OP legend to ever exist in Apex. He was top of the meta, but ever since other legends have been changed and some hard-hitting nerfs have been given to Seer, he's fallen very far down this list. His kit is all the same. You scan through walls, that's pretty much it. He still does his job as a scanner well, but he just can't compete with the other legends on this list. His ult is hardly useful as they remove the reveal on the enemy's location, and it's now just footsteps. His scan no longer cancels heals or does damage, but stuns you for a very short period of time. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to see that Seer is out of the meta, but he definitely needs changes if he wants to compete at the top again. And for that reason, he has fallen to C tier. Lastly, in C tier, we have Vantage. Vantage is a great legend, fun, unique, and aggressive, but again, she can't compete with the other legends. Her tactical is just a worse Revenant tactical, and her passive leaves out a lot of key elements of scanning other than being able to scan enemy shields. Don't get me wrong, her ultimate is very good. The sniper does a lot of damage, with the damage increasing if enemies are marked for you and your teammates, but other than that, her kit falls short to be useful for team play. I think one buff I could give to Vantage is to allow her to jump further and faster with her tactical. Her tactical right now takes time and having to throw it out and then jump to the bird. This could allow Vantage to be a lot more involved in team aggression and push into fights a lot faster. Other than that, she stays in C tier. Now we move on to B tier. These are legends who are generally decent, not terrible, but need buffs to help them compete at the top. First up in B tier, we have Ashe. Ashe has always been a decent pick since her release in Season 11. She hasn't really changed at all, but since her release, she's always been a good pick. One thing that lets Ashe down is her tactical and passive. Her ultimate is good with making rotations easy and efficient, but her tactical feels so useless. Apex is all about team fighting, and being able to stick someone to one place for a short amount of time isn't actually that useful. Plus, this player doesn't get stunned or even take that much damage at all. Her passive also feels useless. Yes, it's nice to see where the enemies are of other death boxes, but there's nothing to do with that information. It sets out a ping because Apex is so fast paced that they can move away so quickly in an instant. Ashe needs a buff to help her compete, as I think she could be a top tier legend. One buff I would give to Ashe is to completely change her tactical. Allow her to stun her enemies instead of trap them. This can allow Ashe to completely turn around a fight and clutch up. I also think Ashe should be able to go further in her ultimate. I mean, it is all about rotating and she can barely go anywhere. Ashe could be a great legend with a few small buffs, but for now she sits in B tier. Next up in B tier we have Ballistic. Ballistic is a super fun legend with aggressive abilities to make his kit effective. His ultimate is amazing with infinite ammo and faster reloads. This makes Ballistic a great legend when it comes to team fights and working with a team. But what lets Ballistic down is his tactical and passive. The ability to be able to carry one extra gun is nice, but when he's not in his ult, that gun feels completely useless. His tactical is weak. With low damage and a slight overheat stun when the enemy shoot too much, his tactical feels completely useless in most situations. I think one buff that could be given to Ballistic is to have his enemy's gun completely stunned as soon as they are hit with a tactical. This could allow Ballistic to time his tactical with a push and get free damage instantly. Other than that, Ballistic stays in B tier. Moving on in B tier, we have Mad Maggie. I really like Maggie. Her ultimate can create some really cool and unique plays and allow Maggie to keep up with an aggressive team. But again, other than her ult, her kit feels weak and is really left with little purpose. Her tactical can secure kills when needed, but the slow taking damage it does makes it feel really underwhelming when using it. Her passive is nice, but it's so unnecessary and is pointless as you run the same speed as you do with no gun out. A nice buff that could be given to Mad Maggie is to have her tactical feel like a thermite grenade. You throw at the object and it does slow taking damage even once the enemy is stand outside of it. A bit like a thermite does. This can allow Maggie to be a lot better at securing kills and make her feel like she has a use in the meta. But for now, Mad Maggie sits in B tier. Next up in B tier is our boy Pathfinder.
Hey, that's me.
Poor Pathfinder, man. So many seasons with no passive, but he finally has one. And it's not bad. Pathfinder is one of the most enjoyable legends in the game. With an addictive kit of abilities, Pathfinder is a must pick for so many of you pub players. So you might be wondering, why have I put him in B tier? And that is only for the reason that he is outclassed. Pathfinder's zipline can take you far, but not safely at all. People have gotten so good at aiming in Apex that getting beamed off that zipline is very likely. Ashe or even Wraith does Pathfinder's jobs so much better and a lot more safe. Pathfinder's grapple, on the other hand, is amazing. You can gain so much distance with it and makes Pathy a decent option when it comes to team aggression. Pathfinder has a lack to passive for a while now, but now you can scan cap patches to get your zipline back instantly. This passive is good, but again is outclassed by others. I think Pathfinder needs a new passive, but until then, he sits in B tier. Lastly in B tier, we have Rampart. Rampart has moved up a lot in this list. From being utterly useless to now somewhat viable, Rampart has slightly shifted into the meta. With many buffs like walking with Sheila out, faster placements on the walls and more, Rampart is now a useful legend in many team comps. The one problem that Rampart has is that she's too slow for the pace of the game. As said before, Apex is a very fast paced game and Rampart struggles to compete with it. She can knock down a building very well, but in a fast paced endgame or team push, she causes the fight to be slower due to her slow abilities. The buff to move while using her ult is amazing and allows her to be less static when using it. The walls are good, but again what causes Rampart to be slow when it comes to a fight. Also, not to mention how useless her passive is as well. I mean, who uses LMGs? Rampart could do with a new passive to make her more included in team play and it's actually useful for a controller role, but for now, she sits in B tier. Next up we have A tier. These are legends who are generally good and offer a lot of team play. They don't necessarily need buffs or nerfs, but stand in a good place and balanced spot in the meta. And first up in A tier, we have Revenant. Revenant has been massively changed with his rework last season. His abilities offer so much more for his team and can pair up very well with other legends. His ultimate is amazing for making Revenant a fragger on the team. To be able to regen health after every single kill allows Revenant to waste no time for healing and get straight back into the fight to help his team. His tactical is amazing, allow Revenant to be that aggressive legend that he should have always been. His passive still lacks usefulness for me, but can be useful when trying to pick off low HP enemies. Revenant is in a really good spot in the meta and he's here to stay in the top if he doesn't get nerfed. For that reason, Revenant moves up to A tier. Next up in A tier we have Bloodhound. Bloodhound has always been an amazing legend in this game. Their ability to quickly scan through walls already makes them a meta legend. The aggro pushes with Bloodhound's ult as well creates for some amazing team play and squad wipes. The ability to have a 6-second cooldown on a tactical when in the ult just makes Bloodhound an unstoppable legend in the meta. The passive is also amazing for tracking down enemies and mirroring behind teams to get a flank on them. I don't see Bloodhound moving out of this meta anytime soon as it continues to dominate at the top of the scan legends leaderboard. That's why Bloodhound stays in A tier. Next up in A tier we have Fuse. Now you might be wondering, Fuse Fuse? Isn't Fuse terrible? Well, just let me explain. Fuse in the right hands is actually deadly. The ability to push people out of the positions with the Q and doing lots of taking damage in the process is lethal. Fuse can be a massive counter to these offensive legends and has 2 Qs that can do a lot of damage to structures. Fuse ult is also an amazing part of his kit. Yes, there are a lot of legends that can escape it, but with the way that the current meta is going, lots of these meta legends can't. This ult inside of a building is also insane, causing so much damage while also scanning all enemies when they're inside of it. With the power of nades in Apex, Fuse has an amazing ability to be able to stack nades in one inventory slot. Fuse may feel weak, but once you get to use him in a competitive or even team setting, he brings a lot to the table. That's why Fuse will sit in A tier. The next legend in A tier is Loba. Loba has always stayed consistent. With her ult being the most powerful part of her kit, Loba can change the game around with her abilities. Her ultimate comes in clutch in so many situations and just is an all-round amazing ability when trying to find loot in the area. I mean, come on, who doesn't want free loot? Loba also helps save a lot of time when it comes to looting, which can be crucial in a competitive setting when time is at the essence. Her Q does feel weak though. It does the job, but it's too slow to activate and always feels useless when in a team fight. Her passive is also underwhelming, but the reason she's going in A tier is due to her ult. Just her ult alone makes Loba a top tier legend. So with that being said, Loba is going in A tier. Our next legend in A tier is Valkyrie. Valkyrie's been hit with some heavy nerfs. From the introduction of evac towers to a nerf on the distance of her ult, Valkyrie's been hit hard with nerfs, but still stays consistent at the top. I think a lot of people would move her down on this list due to the evac towers being introduced, but Valkyrie always makes up for the clutch and how fast her ult is. As much as evac towers are amazing, Valk's ult can be used instantly and still goes higher than an evac. She can make escaping a team or pushing a team a lot easier and faster, which is something evac towers can't. But don't get me wrong, the ult isn't the only good part of her kit. The fact she can fly for her passive is insane. I mean, what? Her passive? It's crazy. Her Q also does an amazing job of pushing enemies out of positions and cleaning up low HP kills when needed. Valkyrie stays on top of her abilities, offering so much to a team and clutching up in rough moments. And for that reason, Valkyrie sits comfortably in A tier. And lastly in A tier, we have Wraith. Wraith has stayed consistent at the top of the meta since the game has come out. Her abilities offer so much counterplay, with her tactical allowing her to get out of bad positions easily. Her portal can quickly and safely rotate your team out of bad positions or create some insane aggressive pushes. Even though her passive isn't the strongest, it offers enough information to keep Wraith useful. One thing I do not like about Wraith is how selfish of a legend she is. Using her tactical mid-fight can literally get your team killed as you were just playing for time. However, in the right hands, Wraith is an absolute demon of a legend who will consistently stay at the top as one of the best solo legends, but an aggressive one too. That's why she will stay in A tier. And lastly, we have S tier. These are legends who are top on the meta and have no sign of falling. These are legends that may need nerfs or slight adjustments to make them balanced. First up in S tier, we have Horizon. Horizon has stayed at the top of the meta since her release. With the smoothest movement in the game, Horizon offers so much to a team while still being a very enjoyable legend to play. Her tactical is by far the best in her kit. The ability to quickly take high ground of your enemies or gain height to initiate a push, Horizon's tactical matches perfectly with not just her own ult, but the ult of others too. Her passive also allows Horizon to move freely and make her a difficult opponent to hit mid-fight. Her ult is also amazing. Combined with grenades, Horizon's ult can wipe a team with an instant or even push them out of positions. Horizon has no sign of moving from the top of the meta, and that's why she will comfortably sit in S tier. Next up in S tier, we have Catalyst. Catalyst went from being an underrated and slept on character on her launch, but was quickly boosted to the top of the meta when people realized her true potential. Her ability to create a wall across any open space allows Catalyst to rotate her team out of bad positions with ease. Her ability to also lock down an area with her Q and passive allows Catalyst to be the best legend for holding zones and rotating into zone. She's a 2-in-1 legend, you could say. Catalyst will stay at the top of the meta for a while. Unless some detrimental nerf happens to her ult, Catalyst will not be moving down this list for a long time. For that reason, she stays in S tier. Next in S tier, we have Wattson. Wattson has always been the best defensive legend in this game. With her fences making it easy to lock down a building, Wattson can take so much control of an area. Her ultimate is also amazing. The ability to be able to counter grenade spam while also healing shields at the same time, Wattson is unstoppable indoors. Her passive also slow heals her shields over time and allows her to gain her ult back by just using one ultimate accelerant. Wattson has always stayed consistent in the competitive scene and in ranked in general and has no sign of leaving. That's why Wattson will be in S tier. Next up in S tier is our newest legend, Conduit. Conduit is absolutely broken. The fact that she can heal herself and her teammates' shields with one button is absolutely wild. She can turn a team fight around with her abilities and can make for some insane clutches with her Q. Her ult is decent, a good way to flush a team out indoors but feels weak when not in that situation. Her passive is also decent, allowing Conduit to get back with her team faster and do her job as support. Conduit is here to stay at the top if her tactical doesn't get changed because that ability is absolutely crazy. I definitely think Conduit needs some nerfs, and for that reason, she is in S tier. Lastly, in S tier, and in this list in general, we have Bangalore. Bangalore has always been a decent legend since the game's release. With never being the top of the meta, Bangalore's been pushed up the meta in recent seasons. Her ability to block LOS with a smoke, kill time in fights to have time to heal, and rotate a team through any situation makes Bangalore a must pick for so many legend comps. Her ult is amazing for pushing teams out of potential areas that your team might want to go, and her passive allows us to keep up with the team in fights. Bangalore has stayed on top of the meta for a long time now, and will continue to dominate for seasons to come. And for that reason, she stays in S tier. And that's a wrap for the tier list. We went through all the legends and ranked them from F to all the way up to S tier, and that was my rankings. If you guys want to tell me your own rankings, you can put it in the comments down below and put your own tier list, and I will have a look at them, and let me know what I think. But I appreciate you guys watching the video today, and I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.